Hello, my name's Mick. As you all know, as we get older, we talk to keep ourselves healthy, keep yourselves fit, keep yourself well hydrated, eat healthily. You're told to do all sorts of things so you can have a happy, long life. Well, I'm retired and I've been retired a few years now, but I was always really rubbish at keeping myself hydrated. I would maybe go all day without having a drink at all. And I decided a couple of years ago now, I decided that to stay healthy, if I want to stay healthy longer, I need to keep hydrated. So, what if drinking tap water is not as good for you as they would have you believe? Might even be shortening your lives, who knows? But do you remember back in the day when you used to go on your holidays abroad, if you were lucky enough to go on your holidays abroad, they always said to you, oh, don't drink the tap water. Whatever you do, don't drink the tap water. It's full of bugs and all sorts that'll make you ill. And 9 times out of 10 when you went abroad, inadvertently you'd drink some water, whether it be ice cubes or just cleaning your teeth, and we'd all get a jippy tummy. Well, what if I were to tell you that water in the UK varies in quality depending on where you live? So, I mentioned earlier the locations where in the UK where water's good and where it's not so good. So, I wanted to find out if the water was good in the area where I lived. And this story will probably be the same in different parts of the world, not just in the UK. So I went to good old Mr. Google and I Googled the best and worst locations for water quality. While they say that all water across the UK is safe to drink, the quality differs by region. And just as an example, a 2020 survey done by a company called Tap Water, that's TAPP Water, did a survey by region, and its findings revealed that the top 5 locations, based on consumers, so that's people drinking the water, I suppose, was Scotland, South West, which includes Bristol, Yorkshire and the Humber, which if you hadn't already guessed is where I'm from, Northern Ireland, and Wales. The worst locations in the UK for tap water, or the worst quality, was the east of England, which includes Norwich, East Midlands, which includes Leicester, the South East, including Southampton, good old Greater London, West Midlands, Birmingham areas. Well, as I said earlier, I live in one of those areas that is supposed to have good quality water. But I started noticing as I upped my hydration game, as it were, that our tap water was tasting a bit chemically and a bit metallic. And I was getting more stomach upsets than I'd got in the past. So I hadn't changed my diet drastically. So it could only really be down to the water. So I'm now up to about 2 litres a day. Because of the taste, we started buying water from the supermarket, thinking that we were buying a better product. So once or twice a week, we'd go and buy multi-packs of water from the supermarket, and we used that for drinking, making squash and making tea and coffee. But we noticed then that it didn't happen so much before, but when we started using bottled water, there was a scale building up in our kettle. Now, although it tasted much better, the bottled water, if it was scaling up the kettle, what was it doing to us? Lots of people live in hard water areas, and this might be of interest to you. So again, I went on to Mr. Google to find out about water hardness and what it meant. And this is what it said. The question I asked was, what does high calcium in water do to your body? One of the answers that came up was answered by one of the better known filter companies. And it said, and I'll quote, "It can be difficult to digest large amounts of calcium and magnesium, so drinking a large amount of hard water over time can cause a range of gastrointestinal discomforts. Some people report increased symptoms of IBS, as well as bloating, diarrhea, and constipation, all of which can result from excessive calcium intake." So after a bit more research, we found that water filters generally don't take out either calcium or magnesium, and they definitely don't remove heavy metals, don't they? Everyday countertop water filters. So we decided to buy a condenser. What we saw after we started using the condenser shocked us. So you just fill the water condenser up with tap water. It can be hot water or cold water, it doesn't matter. So as soon as all the water's condensed or evaporated, whichever way you want to look at it, it turns off. The heat goes up in it for obvious reasons, the water's not very cooled in it, and it turns itself off. Here, there's a residue left in the bottom, which absolutely stinks like chemical waste. You know, a bit like how rivers smell. If you lived in an industrial area, which most people did if they're as old as me, and a river ran through your town, that chemically smell that you used to get from the river, their wastewater was run straight into the rivers, so they all smelt very chemically. This is how this smells. You could probably wipe this residue out with a towel or a scouring pad, but what I tend to do is I tend to put white vinegar in there, leave it in for a couple of hours, and then it wipes out no problem. Now, all that's in there has come only from the water and nowhere else. There's been nothing else in this, just water from the tap. It's what's left behind after the condensation process. The water now tastes of absolutely nothing, and as an added bonus, if you use it to make tea and coffee, there's no residue in the kettle. And believe it or not, the coffee and tea tastes much better, and there's no scum you see when you make tea or coffee. Now, before we drink the condensed water, to put a little bit back in there, we put a pinch of Himalayan salt in there, the pink Himalayan salt, but just a pinch to every 4 bottles. Give it a shake, and it's said to be good for your electrolyte levels, so that's what we do. This is what we decided to do, to try and make sure that we're drinking the purest water we can. And yes, there's an initial outlay. You've got to buy the condenser, you have a bit of electricity to pay for, but it works for us, and it also works out cheaper than buying bottled water from the supermarket. You're not having to travel to the supermarket and hump the multi-packs in, and of course we're not filling up our recycling bin with plastic bottles every other week, and it also keeps, there's a process to recycle plastics, and I'm sure there's a residue, and I'm sure some of that residue can get into the watercourses, which puts the microplastics into watercourses and the sea. So not only are we looking after our health, we believe we're doing our bit for the environment as well. So if you like this video, please leave me a thumbs up, and if you like, subscribe. It could be good to see more people jumping on board, so we can make more of this content for you. If you want me to look at other things to make a video about, just leave a suggestion in the comments, and I'll do my best for you to make videos about what interests you. So that's all I've got to say today. I'll see you next time. Bye.